After having a look around Lincoln's Inn, going to walk around Lincoln's Inn Fields, and then between Sardinia Street and Lincoln's Inn Fields, going to walk down Portsmouth Street, do a right Portugal Street, left St Clement's Lane, then walking through the London School of Economics University, going to do a right Grange Court, left Clement's Inn, which will bring us down by the side of the Royal Courts of Justice and onto the Strand. So this is Lincoln Inn Fields, the largest square in London. At number 13, Lincoln's Inn Fields, once lived Sir John Soane. He was the architect of the Bank of England. Walking inside the home is like walking through a maze of historical and architectural curiosities. And a special Act of Parliament saw to it that it remained open as a public museum. It's well worth a visit and free to enter. Lincoln Inn's Field today is a nice relaxing place. And in this corner used to be a bust of William Frederick Danvers Smith, head of W.H. Smith. But his head has disappeared. But here in Lincoln's Inn Fields, one day in the year 1586, a crowd of thousands witnessed the barbaric hanging, drawing and quartering of 14 Catholic traitors guilty of plotting to overthrow Queen Elizabeth with Mary. Numbers 59 to 60 were built in the year 1640 by Inigo Jones. You can see on 59 and 60 the stone columns which go up, they actually narrow towards the top, unlike their neighbours which are the same width from bottom to top. I imagine that is so it gives the house the look that it's not so square. At number 5960, Lincoln Inn's Fields, is a plaque there for a former resident, Spencer Perceval. Spencer Perceval was this country's only Prime Minister who has been assassinated. Spencer Perceval was shot dead in the lobby of the House of Commons by a disgruntled member of the public. His murder was foreseen by John Williams in Red Roof in Cornwall in a dream. But the Prime Minister was not warned. In the southwest corner of Lincoln's Inn Fields is this bust of John Hunter, born 1728, died 1793, the founder of scientific surgery. And behind the trees there is a strange museum of body parts, well worth a visit. There it is, the Hunterian Museum. It's almost opposite the tennis courts. While on the Strand, going to turn left and walk into Fleet Street to look at St Dunstan's in the West Church. Do a U-turn and come back to the Strand. Look at St Clement's Danes Church. Make our way around with Australia High Commission on the left, Bush House on our left. This is the Temple Bar Memorial, put here in the year 1880. This would have been the old gateway into the city. The dragon is the emblem of the City of London. Mythically, dragons from their caves kept an eye on gold mines and hidden treasure. Any thieves would be torn to pieces or burned by the dragon. So this is Temple Bar, the gateway from the city of Westminster to the city of London. Whenever the monarch of the time, which at the moment is King Charles III, comes to the city of London, the Lord Mayor of London will meet the monarch and present the monarch their sword. The monarch will then return the sword back to the Lord Mayor of London in a way of saying, it is up to you, Lord Mayor, to give me security and safety while I'm in your district, the City of London. Then the Lord Mayor's personal bodyguard will be in charge of the security and safety of the monarch during their duration here in his district, the City of London. Queen Victoria's progress to the Guildhall, 9th of November 1837. The original gateway by Christopher Wren stands in Paternoster Square, leading near to St Paul's.
It did.
It didn't.
Look at the picture.
Yes, the picture was made like that. Yes.
And here in Belling Yard, we go to this pub and have a drink on an old London bus. This is Queen Elizabeth I at St Dunstan in the West. The statue of Queen Elizabeth I was taken down from the Ludgate, which I spoke about, because the traffic being too much now for the size of gate, it's too small, and so she was put here. These old statues of King Lud and his two sons, these once also stood halfway up Ludgate Hill on the Ludgate, which when it was demolished about 1760, Evelyn wrote in his diary that the statues escaped the Great Fire. And that's the Hall & Co Bank, private bank. Now over there, behind all that roadworks, is number 37 Fleet Street, Hall & Co, which is Britain's oldest surviving private bank. When Hoare & Co. went into banking in about 1672, Britain had around 4,000 private banks. This, though, is now the sole survivor. Now that's an accomplishment. Now, number 17 Fleet Street is Prince Henry's room, a rare example of a Jacobean timber frame townhouse in central London. Although it did need some restoring in 1898 after some previous neglectful occupiers. This stone gateway shows that this was part of the 12th century Knights Templar estate, and still today from here you can enter into the inner temple law grounds. The house in the 16th century became an inn. Now this building opposite the Royal Courts of Justice was once the Wigan Pen Club. It's on the Strand. Part of the building predates the Great Fire of London. To know which part, it's the one where the windows and the walls are flat. That's the oldest part of the building. It's now a restaurant, Wigan Pen Restaurant, Noodle Nova. The Wigan Pen Restaurant, once the Wigan Pen Club. That says up there, built 1625, the only Strand building to survive the Great Fire of London. And the old part of the building, as we're looking on the right, as I say, the windows flat against the stonework, that was once the home of the temple gatekeeper. This is Twining's tea shop on the Strand, established 1706. And next door, Pret-a-Manger, that used to be Snow Bank. That's the Church of St. Clement's. Oranges and lemons, say the bells of St. Clement. You owe me 5 farthings, say the bells of St. Martin's. Dr. Samuel Johnson, who wrote the dictionary, was a regular worshipper here. When will you pay me, say the bells of Old Bailey. When I grow rich, say the bells of Shoreditch. When will that be, say the bells of Stepney? I don't know, say the great bells of Bow. And here comes a candle to light you to bed, and here comes a chopper to chop off your head. Chip, chop, chip, chop, the last man is dead. Oh, those great nursery rhymes when I was a child. Full of laughter and fun. It says here on the side of the church, St. Clement Danes, built by the Danish community in the 9th century and rebuilt by William the Conqueror, built again by Sir Christopher Wren in 1681. The steeple added by James Gibbs in 1719. Gutted by German incendiary bombs, leaving only the damaged walls and steeple, 10th of May 1941. And restored 1958 as the central church of the Royal Air Force. And adopted in 1956 by the Royal Air Force. Well, it's a pity to get all that scaffolding going on the church behind Lord Dowding. That's Lord Dowding's statue. Began life in the army, but then joined the Royal Flying Corps, and in 1918 the newly formed Royal Air Force. And this St. Clement's Church today is the Church of the Royal Air Force. In 1936, Dowding was appointed to the post of Commander-in-Chief, Fighter Command. He orchestrated the build-up of the fast Hurricane and Spitfire fighter aircraft and used his brains to manage the Battle of Britain that was about to begin the defence of these islands. In May 1940, when France was being overtaken by Germany, the British government was pressured to send RAF squadrons to defend France. But Commander Dowding, aware that France was lost for the time being, refused, saving his forces for the Battle of Britain and for the long-term victory. At the unveiling of this statue in 1988, a solitary Spitfire flew overhead. William Gladstone, a well-known name in politics. And it was William Gladstone who said, "All the world over, I will back the masses against the classes." Queen Victoria said once, after their meetings together, "He talks to me as if I were a public meeting." These two big statues on top of Bush House, symbolising youth, is in recognition of the friendship between Great Britain and the United States. And Bush House was developed by an American group. And it says up there above the columns, if you can't read it, it says, "To the friendship of the English-speaking peoples." We're just by the side of High Commission of India. We're going to turn left, go through there, and that will take us to the Strand. We cross the Strand, going to look at Somerset House. This is India House in India Place, next door to Bush House. This is Nehru, born 1889, died 1964. First Indian Prime Minister after independence. Somerset House, the original house built for Protector Somerset, Lord Protector of England, 1547 to 1549, for King Edward VI, who was only 9 years old when taking over from his father, Henry VIII. Lord Protector liked to get things for free. He got his builders to take stone from other people's houses and churches, even St. Paul's, to build his palace, Somerset House. Lord Protector Somerset even stole great quantities of books from the Guildhall Library that were donated by Dick Whittington. And when the Lord Protector Somerset needed money to help build his palace here at Somerset House, he allowed the King's soldiers to go unpaid, and he pocketed the money. This is a statue of George III, looking more like a Roman. Well, he was mad, wasn't he? The statue showing the king leaning on a ship's rudder with a lion and the ship's prow, which is the furthest point of the ship's bow, and that's Neptune as companion. I think this is to show that the king himself is setting the course for his country's dominance on the high seas. George III had the old Somerset House demolished, and George III had the new Somerset House built in the year 1776. The same year that America gained independence. The fabric here, which bends round like a river, showing that taxes are a barrier to prosperity. Well, that's my opinion of it. And I say that because here used to be the Inland Revenue here at Somerset House, and this lovely courtyard they used as a car park, but not anymore, thank goodness. Yep, I was right, it bends round like the Indus River. That's the fabric bends round. Just think, Lord Admiral Nelson would have walked up and down these stairs, these same stairs. Here in Somerset House, Salt Stair. In 1702, the Salt Office was created by the Excise Board to specifically manage the production, movement and taxation of British salt. The stairs here on the Salt Stair actually look like they're made out of salt. And then after looking at Somerset House, we go right through to the very end, out onto the Victoria Embankment by the River Thames, turn left and we will come to Temple Underground Station. St Clement's Danes, church famous for the children's nursery rhyme. Oranges and lemons, say the bells of St Clement's. You owe me 5 farthings, say the bells of St Martin's. When will you pay me, say the bells of Old Bailey. When I grow rich, say the bells of Shoreditch. When will that be, say the bells of Shoreditch.